I bought my dream house in 2025. It's this house, and I thought I'll either live in this house until I die, meaning I'll never move, or it'll burn down, whichever comes first. And hopefully they don't happen at the same time. This house, as magnificent as it is in like the reddest part of the burn zone. When you look at those burn maps, when you buy a house and you go through all the disclosures, there's gradations of red, and here in California, I'm in the reddest, most flammable area. So right away, I knew that living here was a risk, and I knew that anecdotally, because I had people, friends, people who I knew who lost homes in the Altadena fires, and friends who lost their home in the Palisades fires. I knew from people I knew that insurance wouldn't cover it. So if I was going to move here, I had to give myself at least a probabilistic chance of surviving a fire with the house intact, or else the house is a total write-off, which would be catastrophic. I don't think, from all the research that I did, and I did a lot of research, I don't think there's any solution that guarantees that you will have a house when a fire comes through. So what's the system that gives you the highest probability? And that's what I went looking for. I got a bunch of proposals. They're all pretty good. They all made me feel good. They're all expensive. And then I got yours, and honestly, it's so weird how many decisions you make in life based on a PDF, a good PDF. EmberSafe makes great PDFs. You were the only proposal that had a plan for the house, the 4-point sprinkler system, and the eaves, and had a plan for what you called in the PDF, you called it the canyon defense system. And there's just something about that, and I told you this on the phone, that the way the document was written that really impressed me, and I felt like I think this is the system. So you came over, we sat at that table over there, and we looked out at the trees, and in conversation, you and I realized, like, oh, if the house burns down, you can rebuild the house. We still have the plans. But these trees, they won't come back in my lifetime. They won't come back in my children's lifetime. They might not come back in my children's children's lifetime. This tree is well over 100 years old. These trees behind me are 100 years old. And at that point, I was like, well, we got to do it. We got to do it. We got to try. We got to give ourselves at least a chance of saving this natural habitat. When we go to sleep at night, there are flies. We got to save these flies, first of all. The flies love it here, so it's mostly for them. When we go to sleep at night, there are great horned owls that perch in these trees. There are, I don't know if the mountain lions and bears come through my property. I'm assuming they do. There's a lot of land here. But this is clearly a place that wildlife have come to count on. And it's just a sanctuary. It's just the most beautiful sanctuary. It's the best house in all of Los Angeles. Shouldn't everyone feel that way? So how do you protect it? This might sound like a little wonky, but it's my perspective. When I looked at the cost of this system relative to the cost of the house, talking in investment terms, the cost of the system was a 2.7% put option on the value of the house. And what that means is that it's an insurance policy. It's an insurance policy against total loss. So for 2.7%, the cost of the house, I can have an insurance policy against calamity. That's sort of how I looked at it. And I know from my limited investing experience that a 2.7% insurance policy that's not a yearly cost, a one-time cost against the total value of the collateral is an unheard of screaming good deal in investing. You don't ever get a deal like that. So if you can change your frame of mind to look at it that way, then it's a really, really, it's kind of like you have to do it. You have to do it. Now, again, if the 1,000-degree raging inferno comes through this area like a locomotive, we'll lose the house, we'll lose the sprinkler system, we'll lose everything. But I gotta tell you, having had the system installed, when you fired it up and I watched all the rain coming down, like it's raining, I had this first moment of like, oh, this could work. Yeah, I think this could actually work. Like I feel much better. This is another funny story. The day you activated the system, I just moved into this house, mail's been piling up. Finally sat down at my desk. Halfway through the stack of mail was a letter from California Fair Plan saying that they were canceling my policy because I hadn't submitted a document a month earlier. Normally, I would have maybe vomited out of panic, but there was a deep, quiet part of my soul that said, you know what? Like, you actually have your insurance system. They just turned it on today. I got it sorted out with Fair Plan. They reinstated my insurance system, but I was able to sleep that night because of the system. Specifically about you guys, the EmberSafe team. And look, anyone getting system, they should put in a keyman clause. It has to be you and Brad because you guys are the best. There's a level of commitment to this installation that was very personal, very attentive to my concerns. Not that I needed to like be pointing anything out. I think you were getting inside the mind of a homeowner and saying, what would I want? Okay, this guy's signed a contract with me. Now I have a fiduciary duty to take care of this house as if it's my own. I don't think that by nature, the way that EmberSafe runs their business, it's a high volume, crank it out business. It's a bespoke, high end personal defense system, and that's what you're getting. You're getting a lot of attention. You're getting updates as they think of new things. They come by. You guys come by and, oh, we thought of this. We're going to come by and update the system. That's like some Tesla level customer relations. And I show the system off to everybody. I'm so proud of it. It feels like the weirdest kind of flex for California to be like, check out my personal wildfire defense system. But it is, if you want to flex, you got to have this. And the other thing that set you guys apart actually was incorporation of Komodo. You're the only system that used Komodo. There are other systems that use foam. Other systems use just water. Others use a combination of foam and water. And by the way, if you're going to do I don't think you can go wrong. It's kind of binary. You put something on your house, I think you're already ahead of the game. But I guarantee you, if you have a fair amount of property or a large house, none of these systems are cookie cutter. There's going to be something that comes up that's going to be unique to your house. And you're going to want to be with a company that's going to adjust their plan, tailor system for what you need, and also stretch themselves, try and come up with something elaborate. I mean, these are complex dynamic systems. Flowing water, high pressure, in the event of an emergency, self-contained. The number of variables is itself an unsolvable variable. So I just personally feel like the thought when I brought up to Bradley, I was like, what happens if it gets below freezing? And I was like, well, he's like, well, I put a lot of thought into that, and here's what we have done for freezing temperature systems. Your property, on average, the lowest historical temperature is 41 degrees. It was a conversation about the variables that, and I know you guys had a conversation about that. This big tree, you're doing something you've never done before, which also, as an entrepreneur, I love people who want to try something they've never done before, and that there's risk involved in that. But life is risk, and risk, the definition of payoff is risk. And here the payoff would be saving a magnificent 100-plus-year-old tree. So anyway, this is all my long way of saying I love the system. I'm very, very proud of the system. I'm very, very excited to grow old in this house. And have that. I mean, the house has been here since 1958. I'd like to have it be here for another 80 years. I think this is the best chance we've got.